Ranked third in that Iowa poll, has gone from unknown to contender in a very short period of time. Herman Cain joins us now live. All right, you came out number 3 in that poll, one of the only folks in the double digits. How do you feel about that this morning?
Well, Shannon, I feel great about that because, as you would imagine, I don't have the name ID that Representative Bachmann and Governor Romney has. And so when you look at the fact that my name ID is probably only half of what theirs is, we are ecstatic about that. And that means that our ground game is working and that my message of common sense solutions is resonating. So we're very thrilled about that.
Well, I want to look at a couple of other polls as well. The one that came after the New Hampshire debate, you also did well, again polling in double digits, coming in third behind Romney and Bachmann. That looks great for you. But when you look at the Real Clear Politics average of polls, and they count everything that's gone on in this race, it's a little bit different picture there because they've got Romney in the lead at 24.4%, then Sarah Palin and Rudy Giuliani, and then you come in fourth there, but you're behind 2 people in that particular average of polls who aren't even running. Do you find that to be frustrating at all?
It's not frustrating. It's good for us and for me. The fact is they haven't declared, they aren't running. So the fact that I still made a very strong showing, even behind those 2 named superstars, it's very encouraging. And once again, whenever we see those kinds of results, it just tells us to keep doing what we're doing. And what we're doing, Shannon, quite frankly, I spent a lot of time talking to people and listening to people. That's the key. And this whole common sense message and me being a problem solver, not a politician, I think is resonating with a lot of people.
All right, let's talk about a couple of specific issues. This week, the president talked about what he plans for Afghanistan, the troop drawdown there. You've said he's got foggy foreign policy. You want to see more clarity from him. I know you've taken some questions about what your plan would be. What would it be?
Well, first of all, Shannon, you don't have to have foreign policy experience to know how to listen to your experts. When Admiral Mullen and General Petraeus questioned the aggressiveness of what the president wanted to do, to me, that was another indication that the president is not listening. I would listen to them. Secondly, when you look at the fact that the surge has been only going on for about a year and a half, I don't believe he's actually given enough time to work. And then to announce to your enemy that you're going to remove almost a third of your troops over the next 12 months, I don't think that's a very good strategy. So not knowing a lot about foreign policy, you know, I don't think that's a prerequisite for making sure that you use some common sense decision making in order to be able to address the situation.
All right, let's talk about another topic that's gotten a lot of attention over the last week or so, the pro-life pledge that the pro-life group Susan B. Anthony list has asked lawmakers and potential candidates to sign. Has a number of things on the list saying that as president you would defund Planned Parenthood, you would only appoint to certain positions people who were pro-life, several factors along those lines. You opted not to sign it. You said it's because there is one tenet of that pledge that asks that you advance or further a particular piece of legislation. You said it's a separation of powers issue, that is something for Congress to do, but you would sign it. You haven't gotten nearly the blowback that someone like Mitt Romney has gotten for not signing this pledge. So do you think that's because people don't see you as much of as a threat as Romney, or because you have a better explanation?
I think my explanation is better. It actually boils down to one word, Shannon, and that word was they wanted me to say that I would advance that particular legislation. The president can't advance legislation. And when I challenged them on it, they didn't want to change it. I don't want to sign a pledge to say that I can do something that I cannot do. But I then issued in my press release the fact that I would sign it if it were to get to my desk. And then when you consider the fact that just last Friday I gave a keynote speech at the National Right to Life Conference, they know exactly where I stand on this issue. It is not a question mark. And when you get a few standing ovations from a National Right to Life group, I think they understand my explanation.
All right, I want to give you a quote and let you respond to this. You know, there's no question that you have gone from 0 to 60 in this presidential race in most estimations. I mean, you're showing up in key polls in double digits, and a lot of people are impressed that you've been able to do that. But one of your critics, and this comes from Deborah Saunders, who's the conservative writer at the San Francisco Chronicle, says, quote, he was a great businessman, but that does not mean he can squeeze what he wants out of hostile lawmakers, outmaneuver treacherous allies, or juggle the 1,000 parts of foreign policy. I'll give you a chance to respond.
Well, when I've dealt with treacherous franchisees and treacherous restaurant concepts as head of the National Restaurant Association and been able to move those organizations forward, It's not a matter of being able to squeeze things out of treacherous lawmakers. It's being able to get the American public to understand the president's agenda and then allow them to be the heat. You know, Senator Dirksen was the one who said, when they feel the heat, they will see the light. The American people are going to be my heat whenever we want to do something that the American people will do. Remember, one of my strengths as a businessman is listening and problem solving. So I'm not concerned about this treacherous terrain in Washington whatsoever.
All right, Herman Cain, always great to visit with you, and thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks, Shannon.